And hello to all my Leo friends, I'd like to welcome you in. My name is Scott Sagent, and today I'll be doing your free Psychic Tarot reading for October 2023. Now today they've dialed up for my great Leos a storyline spread. Storyline spread is a great spread for general readings because it casts a very wide net across the entire sign of Leo, telling different stories for different Leos going through different things in the month. It's like a bunch of mini readings all in one, 2, 3, 4, or 5. 4 or 5 different stories for different Leos is what we're going to be telling today, and they want us to do a very specific storyline spread focused on the category of work. So it's all going to be about the work corner deal here: work, business, enterprise, area of study, collegiate courses, retirement if you're of that age, entrepreneurship, learning new things, hobbies and interests, that whole thing. JOB for most people, but that whole corner is what the spread is going to be about, guys. So we're going to get the story in here that is right for you. That is our goal today. Multiple stories may, do, and will resonate with you, but at the end of the day, there is one story in here that is going to be a home run for you, and we're going to find that here. They've asked that I conclude your reading with a fun one. We're going to do some animal totems, and we're doing 2 animal totems, so we're doing a transitional animal totem. Taking the first animal, getting out of those characteristics, and getting you into that next animal's characteristics in the month of October. Interesting things lie ahead. We're going to conclude your reading, of course, with the Rune Stone, talk about your moon cycles, do a little bit of chemistry tracking toward the end of your reading that shows what Leo's kicking good with, what sign you're compatible with, what sign you should avoid in the month of October, and so forth. And then we're going to end your reading with something I call homily, which is a little spiritual pep talk. So let's get started, guys. The cards are already shuffled. I do it ahead of time to save us all a bunch of time. And right now I'm going to bring you in the overhead so you can watch. We are live and recording. Need my Leos to hit that like button right now, guys. Build up the energy before we flip any of these cards over. In quantum, it is all possible. Time does not exist. So here we go. We're cutting each deck into thirds. I guess this one I missed somehow. And then put it back together in a separate order. That satisfies the ritual aspect of tarot. It is the same procedure for personal private reading. So it's just like you're here with me now. And you are here with me now. Hope you've all hit that like button. Built up this energy in here because Leos have been flopping here in that like button. You can't let them do you like that, Leo, so you got to show up. So hit that like button. It also helps me out too. So let's get started with your storyline. Any storyline spread starts with 5 cards, even though we got a jumper right there. Fix him. And here we go. These are your base 5 cards, your core 5 cards, arguably the most important. Now this deck that they wanted me to use for you is known for creating very large storylines because facings are a little weird in here. And we're still going. Am I off screen? Yes, I am. I'm going to come down here just for the sake of the camera. And we're still going, and we got our stop order from Spirit finally after about 9 cards. And I know that because this lady is looking back this way just a little bit. That brackets me off, so that's our stop order. Now I need to put this in one line just so I can see it all together. Actually, I don't, because this one's going to be down here. So this is going to be one story at our bottom. And then up top, let me figure this out here. Interestingly enough, we have just a standalone here with this one, and then we have one big story here. So we are looking at 3 different work stories for my Leos going through different things here. And this one is just, it's going to be huge, especially when I tack on cards to it. We don't have enough inverted to matter right now. The distribution is pretty fair, I must say. So here, this is just going to get 1 card to describe it, and it's going to need 1 more because I need to see if this king that came up is a person or the energetic definition of that king. They say energy, so we don't need to keep that in the spread. That part's good. Coming over here, we need 2 cards for Lady Justice. That's a major arcana card describing that. There we go. I think we can see it all there. And then our king here, we need to check the same thing. Energy or a person. They say energetic definition. That one will stay in the spread. Coming down here, just 2 to the High Priestess. That is a major arcana card. Gets 2 to describe it. And those are also major arcana cards. So that's going to be a pretty big story as it turns out. Looking like that. And now the last thing that I need is an Oracle Angel card for every single story. Every single work story. This one's going to go here. Once it's all married together, it doesn't matter what order I go in. I'm just kind of touching to attach to it. And that one completely blocked. We're going to do a discard to see if it stays that way. I believe everything else is good to go as is. Yes, it is. So I'm going to do a discard here to see if Spirit wants to upright this whole thing or leave it blocked. They say leave it blocked, actually. The Oracle Angel card will not, though. Everything else, though, will. I do read those tarot cards blocked as well as upright, which changes our definition pool from 78 to 156. I believe that gives Spirit more vocabulary to work with and is a big part of my accuracy. So now it's just a matter of showing you. Let's do it. We're going to start with that little one, our blocked story. That's going to be story 1 for work. We're going to come down here for story 2. and go into story 3 right here, which is huge. Huge, humongous, enormous. Story 3. Okay, let's do it. Let's get to work. All right, Leo. You almost filled up my table. I got a little bit of room to work with. Not so bad. This deck is huge for storyline, so it's actually not as bad as I thought. Okay, story 1. Story 1, Leo. We start with the connection card of, hey, you know what? Work's actually been going pretty well. If your work has been going pretty well, this could very well be your story, and that's a nice little chunk here. Now, there are some moving parts here, though. It should feel a little bit better than it does. So the question I would be asking myself as a Leo in this spot would be, why is that? What could I do here to turn this card around, basically? Because it's the 10 of Cups. It's a good energy card. It's coming in blocked, though, so there's something in the way. There's something that you're just not feeling 100% about here in the work corner. And we told you all the different work parts here in the kind of the beginning of the intro of the video of all the different things work can be that they can be talking about here. It's not just a job for everybody. Hobbies, interest, and a bunch of different things. I'm not going to go over it every time, but here we go. What they're talking here is they really want you to experience this full level joy. So whatever it is that you got to do to kind of basically just turn this card around, from my perspective, the table looks very easy from here. Probably from your side, a little bit more difficult. A little more work needs to be done there to get that through. Now the next thing that comes up here is and this might be why you're not experiencing that full part, is that there's money missing from here. There is and for a lot of you, big money missing here. So there's something either in October that is like, they screw up your paycheck, it doesn't come through, maybe it comes delayed, or they forgot to pay you for, a few hours of overtime or something like that. It's, of course, it always works against you. Of course, they're never going to pay you extra 5 hours of overtime and be like, oops, sorry. No, it's always, the other way around, right? So anyway, they're talking about big money being missed here in some form. Now, maybe that is just Spirit's way of saying, hey, you should do something here to try to improve your money situation, to make more money. And of course, you do that in work. So it's just something worth considering, all those factors for story 1. It is a shorter story, but very profound nonetheless. Let's get into story 2, guys. I'm looking around to see if they gave us any placings here for moon cycles. They did not. I'm gonna hit your moon cycles right now, guys, just because it's gonna be very short. It hasn't really changed much from last month. It changed like one day, and the just short and sweet. I'm not even gonna cut away for it because next month I got something very special planned for it. So anyway, when we enter here October, we're in the full moon energy from September. It's a little carryover here. So as we enter October, it's a good time to get stuff out of your life, to purge, release habits, finish projects, sell stuff, all that vibe. Now we get into the actual new moon on October 14th. So middle of the month, again, is the key for bringing new things in. Starting a new diet, doing something new with work, starting a new budget for finance, bringing in new love, start a dating site, something like that. Whatever new you're trying to do, middle of October is key for that. And then we get back into full moon energy toward the end of October. October 28th is the actual date, but pretty much anytime the last segment there of October is huge. The biggest part of October for getting things out of your life, even bigger than the beginning. It is huge at the end, guys. Great time to do any kind of purging if it's got to go energy with the full moon. Now, if any of this has confused you, I put together a moon cycle cheat sheet, and I do that every single month for you guys. It is absolutely free on the website, scottsagent.com. It's on my Talking About page. You can go down. I update the calendar every month to show you a visual of how these energies move in and out, just to help you out. Let's get into story 2. Story 2, we talk about, just like I said, in and out. Well, in this case, this is a scale. So this is a balancing act here. They show a lot of my Leos here with work are doing a balancing act. Usually it's between work and family, home. That's the thing. So if work demands you to work 50, 60 hours, of course, it's taking the energy away from home. And if you're home too much, it's taking the energy away from work. So you guys are trying to do this little equilibrium balancing act here. And that's what Spirit says that you've been doing a good job of. So applause. Excellent job there, Leo. But you're going to need to continue to do so. This is not the month where you can be like, I'm just going to take it easy this month. No, you're not. No, you're not. You're going to keep balancing, because if you don't, it's going to tip. The scale's going to go blick, and it's going to bottom out. It's no good. So we don't want that. So anyway, that's a financial move there too with work. So very important for finances to keep that balance going. You got to keep the work going, got to keep the family going. This can also be in other parts of your life too. It could be work and finances. In the teetering act, it can also be, for some of you, health. Some of you, work affects your health. Maybe you're hard on your body, for example. Maybe some of you are stressed too much at work, and that affects your body. So all that kind of stuff. Anyway, it's this teetering act that you got to keep in balance. The next thing they show here is a big purchase coming in, big purchase here for my Leos in story 2, and it's usually a pleasurable one. So I wouldn't go do this just because I said so. But if this is something that you've been waiting for, I've been waiting to buy a car, I've been waiting to buy a new TV, fill in the blank, this would be a good opportunity in this month to buy it now. Maybe because of pricing, maybe there's a sale, I'm not sure, or maybe it's just you got it, so you need to get it done, something like that. So anyway, they're showing good energy spent there. It can also be very good, the secondary definition of this card, with being so many different cards with multiple definitions. In a general reading, we got a lot of Leos tuning in. Of course, I love you all, but nothing ever beats a personal private reading where there is no Leo bubble energy. We're just using your own in a personal private reading. I have a wide variety of services available too on my website, scottsagent.com. A little something for everybody there, guys, and that is all about you. Worth checking out, and I encourage everybody to get a personal private reading. The next thing we show here is information that is not fully, I was going to say cyclical, but there's a better word, like it hasn't fully rounded out yet. There's something here that you do not know. There's a puzzle piece that's missing that you're still trying to figure out. Some of you, this is saying for work that there is an educational piece missing. Maybe you need to get certified for something, accredited for something. You need a prerequisite college class for another job, maybe a bachelor's for something, master's for something. Anyway, it's steps. As you can see, knowledge steps, though, is what they show, more than likely. This can also be something that you're not aware of, which we just kind of discussed first. So it's something like that that's coming up. Now, what they show is that you have the authority here and also God's permission. This is the Emperor card, so the God card in tarot. By saying here, you have the full authority and permission from the higher source to get this resolved and get this turned around, so that you do have the full information, or you have the full knowledge or wisdom, or I guess the human drama accreditation, like, oh, I got a master's or whatever it is, right? So you have this ability to pursue this here in October, okay? The next thing they show is you going off on yourself, by yourself, and also being guided, though. So if you're going and doing something alone, that is the first energy I would attach to. But secondary, this can also be you getting help from somebody who knows something more about this. So maybe if it, for example, is about the college or like learning new things idea here, learning a trade for a job or something else so you can improve your work situation, because remember, this is all about work. That's what they talk about here. So seek that help, seek that guidance. It's there for you. That'll help you see things more clearly and get that thing done. And they do show that you're pretty well aware that you're driving a little blind here. So a lot of you are confused. A lot of you are not really sure the timing of things. That's why they're trying to push you a little bit here with October with certain things, saying, hey, the timing is good for this, right? So it's okay. It's basically saying don't let the stress, don't let the anxiety, don't let your nerves get to you. It's actually going to work out good for you either way here. So whether you do or don't, it's okay. It's actually okay for you to think about this, but not necessarily act in October. But I do want you to start thinking about it, okay? The last thing we show here is take back your power. This is your Angel Oracle card. It says, use your God-given power and intention to manifest blessings into your life. I pay the most attention to just take back your power. It infers that you kind of have surrendered it a little bit here. So it is good time for you to empower yourself. Take it back, bring the power back to you from a position where you are in charge. You have the power back. And maybe for some of you, it has to do with being your own boss, something like that, taking back your power or getting into a position of power in the workplace. So there we go. Your last story, story 3. Here we go. First thing we bring up, got that card moved a little bit. First thing we bring up here is the Five of Swords. Man, it has been some crazy times here for Leos in the workplace. This they show here, this has just been like you are exhausted. You are tired, you are worn out, and you're just like collapsing tired from work. Okay, so it has been a war and chaos. It has been drama, perhaps. It's been a little crazy. Now, here's the next thing. They talk about legal stuff coming in for Work Corner. This can be contracts, agreements, anything you put your signature on, that could be coming in. The other version of this is it would be karma that is coming back to you. That is your own. If you've put good karma into the Work Corner, you're going to be getting good karma back from the Work Corner. Guess when? October. October is the time. Now, what they show here is that that there is really one way to do things here. There's really not a lot of choices here in Story 3. This is like a one-path road right now. Maybe later this changes, but for right now, You have a path and you got to walk it. Okay, most of you know what I'm talking about here. So whether it's stay at your current job another year, move to another job because maybe you don't want to, but you have to for a certain time to get to your next step. You get the idea. Anyway, they're talking about there's one path, there's one road you really need to take here, even if you don't want to. The other thing we're looking at here is local moves with work. They want you to stick more locally. No moves across the country, I would say, in this situation. No major company changes, at least if it, affects your commute or is very far away, something like that. They want to keep it more localized here with this karma pullback. They do show that two entities working close together, though. This can be two people, and this can also be romantic, guys. I'm just throwing it out there that some of you may be meeting others in the work corner here romantically, having relationships with them. But going back to the simpler definition of this is just two entities, two people working together toward a goal with work. Maybe it's you and a coworker working on a project together, you and a boss working together on something like that. Excuse me. Our Oracle Angel card is courage, so they want you to be courageous and stand up for yourself. Do not get pushed around. Do not accept second-class behavior from anybody, even your boss, okay? Definitely not a coworker. Definitely not anybody at your own level, okay? That's what HR is for. Anyway, they want you to be courageous about something. I'm not sure what that is. I would be asking myself if I was you what that could be, figuring it out, and then putting it into play. That's what Spirit wants you to do. We end up with the King of Wands inverted here too, which shows that there is an authority with your work corner, basically saying like you have either neglected something or you haven't really shown your true potential here. You can really ramp this thing up, and they're bringing it in October for a reason, because they show here that something here is going to be ripe very, very soon. Maybe it's a job opening in November, December, toward the end of the year, maybe even January, I'm not sure, but they want you to take this authority now so that by the time this later comes, that you can knock this thing out the park, you're ready for it, and boom, you're off and running. There you go, Leo. There's story 3. Now, while I'm looking at all the cards, I'm going to pull your Rune Stone here. They're already mixed up, but I'll give them one more swirl. And here we go, Rune Stone for Leo. Going to be this guy right here. Hold it the right way for the camera. This is the rune of constraint. Constraint. So it's knowing when to pull back, knowing when to go, when to not go, when to pull the trigger, when to not pull the trigger, when to say yes, and when no is important too. So that is boundaries. That is timing is involved there. They talked about courage here and local energy, working with somebody else, but also the in authority here in story 3. I guess I should have mentioned, I'm talking about story 3 first. Constraint for story 3 is knowing that you got to take this one path, and this is the path you just got to walk down right now with work. But it's okay, because you got to put the authority into something here. Okay, so that is constraint there, figuring out the timing of things. Constraint here in the first story, jumping back to that one, is just being able to be flexible with this money that's not here yet. Maybe it's on a delay, maybe it's coming soon, something like that. Oh, I didn't talk about that card either for story 1. I'm glad I bounced back there because they gave us the Oracle Angel card, Breathe. So they're basically saying to take several deep breaths, exhale slowly, awaken your energy, and release old patterns. They want you to realize the patterns with story 1, guys. Okay, so constraint, show a little constraint. Little class 2. Constraint in story 2 was very much about this. This is going to take some time, but you got to take back your power. Okay, so how much can you flex? How much are you willing to give? But at the same time, you have to do your part too. They talk about the knowledge, getting up a level there. So there's constraint through the different stories, a version of that. Let's see here. We got to get into your animal totems. I'm going to do your chemistry tracking first. Let's do chemistry tracking. Chemistry tracking I do ahead of time, guys. This is basically all the card work's done. I'm just talking about it. Saves us a whole bunch of time, but we're talking about what Leo is connected to and who you're not. They gave you both. Leo, you are weak connected to your fellow fire sign Sagittarius. If any of you have Sagittariuses in your life, October is just going to be either a headbutt or not seeing eye to eye on things, or a little disagreement, or maybe just a little weird funky energy going on in the month of October. Now, Leos, you are strongly connected to Aquarius. If you have any Aquarius in your life, that's going to be kicking real nicely. All rainbows and bubblegum there, coming in good. And then for my Leo singles, I would be on the lookout for Aquarius, because that is a wonderful match, at least in October. So there you go. There's your chemistry tracking for the month of October. A little bit of repel from Saggy, a little bit of attract from Aquarius. Now let's get into your animal totems. I did promise you guys 2 animal totems. There's the first one and the second one. I can do both of those. Very good. Let's see my chart and see what they are, because I have so many animals. I do not have them all devoted to memory. I have too many animals, if you ask me. So our first animal that we're moving out of, excuse me, is a spider. Okay, moving out of spider energy. That's a pretty big spider, especially compared to this little table. Big spider, big spider. Hopefully he's a friendly one. But they got you moving out of that, so maybe not. And we're moving into a possum. Out of spider into possum. Well, spider can be day or night, but a possum is a nighttime critter, nighttime animal there. And, he's a scavenger too. The spider is more, insectual. He is more of a predator. The possum is more of a survivor. He makes it work. Anyway, let's get out of the spider first, right? So first of all, let's get out of the predatory this month. This is not the month to go after things and like charge and like, with the exception of the authority parts, they want you to charge with work. This is a month for you to not be actually like hunting. This is a month for you to piece it together like the possum would. Gets a little bit of cat food from one house, gets a little bit of leftover steak from the other garbage. He pieces it together here. So we're moving out of spider energy. And the mobility too, well, the size, I guess the size is a difference too. I don't know how much they would have given us a bigger animal, I think, like whale or something like that, if they wanted you to be larger in your month. So I kind of view moving away from spider as kind of the, because they got you going into both kind of cringy animals, if you will. Like neither of them are cute and cuddly. You know what I mean? Like the opossum are kind of like people don't like them, and people don't like spiders too. So it's not about being liked. Don't care if people like you or not in this month. And that goes back to a lot of our work messages too. Maybe you got to ruffle some feathers here. Maybe it's not about bumping elbows and being friendly with people. Sometimes you got to rough things up to get your way. The squeaky wheel gets the oil, that kind of thing. So anyway, moving out of spider. And then when we move into possum, there can also be a little bit of nighttime reference in there. So getting more things done at night than usual. That may be a theme for October, maybe something worth considering. And of course, if there's anything that I thought of afterwards, because being put on the spot like this, I think of great things that come to me later. I'm going to put that in the text above my head right now so you can read it, and that'll wrap up our animal totem. So very good. The last thing we're going to get into, guys, is called homily. This is your little spiritual pep talk. I hope you enjoy it. Hey guys, Scott Sagent here, and it is time for your homily 2023 October edition. Today I want to talk a little bit about a realization I had, kind of an inspiration through a tarot card, and it was the Three of Wands. I'm going to float a little picture of it up on the screen here for you so you can see what I'm talking about. This is the Three of Wands from what I call my brown tarot deck. I think it depicts the picture very well. And I'm doing the background here to try to match the energy of that as well here for you too. So anyway, this realization I had is that this woman looking out on the edge of a waterway, maybe in some decks it's a cliff, basically the end of your property, looking out to what chapter is next. It also has to do about chapters in your life. So what is coming next for you? And it made me realize how many people actually don't do things. We wait until the right time to do things. Well, as Buddha says, the mistake that people make is thinking that they have time. And, I terribly misquoted that, I'm sure, but you get the gist, is people put things off and then they end up never doing it. If you go and ask anybody who's successful in a business or who's, gone back to school to take accreditation for a credit course or something they need for college or a master's degree or something like that, anybody who's gone back and done the work, if you go and ask them, hey, do you wish you would have waited to do that a little bit longer? Or do you wish you would have done it earlier? They're either going to tell you that they're happy they did it when they did it, or they wish they would have done it earlier. There's almost nobody who says, oh, you know what? I wish I would have taken that dream trip to Europe, a few years after the fact that I did it. No, most people would have liked to have gone earlier. Maybe they found something they really like there and would really like to go back and see again. Well, that never happens if you wait for too long, right? And it's just like another silly example, of course, but it's I just discovered a new restaurant nearby my house that I really like. It's actually like a Oriental buffet, and in my head I'm just thinking, all the buffets are the same. They're similar. They're almost all, a little bit different here, a little bit different there, but overall it's the same idea, same concept. Well, I went and I tried this place, and it blows everything else away that I've ever eaten in the area. So this is something, for example, if I had discovered this Oriental buffet the last couple weeks of when I was living in the town that I'm living in, I would have been very upset. I'd be like, oh man, I could have been coming here this whole time. I could have been coming here for years. And instead, I missed this opportunity because I just waited forever. And it's just like if you're, for so many people want to start businesses and never do. I know somebody who wanted to make candles. They go and buy all the supplies, have everything ready to make a candle business, and then never made a single candle. And it's just like, why? Why wait for the opportune time that may or may not ever come? And just like this card is showing this woman looking out onto the, expanse of the horizon, what is next? Well, what next for you is what's important for you. And the only thing that I would try to encourage from this homily is to not wait for too long, because you never know the timing. The timing sometimes has to be better than it does. If the timing is way off, of course, that's a different deal. But for most people, the timing's either they're unsure of it for other reasons. Maybe they're holding themselves back. That's what happens most of the time. We are our own worst enemies at the end of the day. But at the end of the day, you also need to take risks. You need to do things while you still have the time. And the time is now if you're thinking about it right now. And that's even further reiteration of why you need to go and do things somewhat presently. You don't want to wait for too long. You never know what's going to change between now and then. If you want to go start a business, go start a business. If you want to go start a gym membership or go start a new health kick, go do that. Don't just wait around forever to do it. Wait for the right time. Sometimes you just got to take that little leap of faith. And of course, it is never too late in life. But remember that it is also never too early. So I hope you've enjoyed your homily. I hope you guys have enjoyed the reading as well. Please remember to like and subscribe. I do these every single month. Take care. Have a great October. I know you will.
So I guess the fortune teller's right.